Hi, welcome to Edward Box Guitar Tuition. So my classic album inspection today is a classic of the instrumental shred genre, and it's Jason Becker's Perpetual Burn. This was released in August 1988. Not sure which date it was put out, so I'm just putting this video out today. So Jason Becker's born 1969, June 22nd, I think, or July. So when he records this album, he's 18, not even yet 19. It's chock full of notes, chock full of imagination. It's a real benchmark in the genre, and it kind of sets itself apart from and makes itself different from other examples in the genre. So opens with Altitudes, which is an all-time Becker track for a lot of people, 5 minutes 40 seconds. So keyboard pads and a lovely melody. Some great stuff on this. He solos on a clean sound sort of fairly early into the track, and I think it's like quite bold. That was something he was doing, which I think he got Marty Friedman as well, and they did in Cacophony that was different from other shredders at the time. He was prepared to kind of, back things off and do something mellow. It's got great sort of two-handed tapping bit in this as well. And it does an epic sweep picking bit at 2 minutes. If you see me looking away, I'm just looking at the notes down here because I just want to try and remember and stuff. So I'll call it benchmarks sweep picking. If you go on YouTube and listen to his Raspberry Jams, his little Perspective album, he also has Sariana, his sweep picking piece. So this technique, he's one of the masters of it. I think the only guy who's come close since then, or one of the guys who's come close, is Jeff Loomis. So a lot of players used sweep picking at the time. It's just Becker's. There was something epic about what he did. He makes use of whammy slurring on this, and again, that was something he did a bit more of, apart from Tony McAlpine, than the other shredders. And he's quite happy to use the back of the bar as well. And do kind of high harmonic dives like Steve Vai and stuff like that. So he kind of throws the kitchen sink at it, but very successfully. Next track's Perpetual Burn. This has got quite a weird intro to it. It's got another cool tapping bit in it, almost taking a Randy Rhoads sort of gothic kind of sound and then taking it a stage further. I think that it's got some more sweeps. It comes in at 140 and he uses the back of the bar at 440 on that if you want to hear that technique. So this stuff, it's kind of heavier. It's still got the melody of stuff like McAlpine and things like that, and Vinnie Moore, but it's more power metal. When it's heavy, it's kind of like Eraser X. But obviously the Cacophony, the band he had with Marty Friedman, that comes into play. Metal's Fable, 4 minutes 52, that's track 3. Again, that just makes these really fast alternate pick passages. So his picking is really clean, he's super accurate. Imagine he practiced all these bits really diligently in order to execute this. Typically these albums are kind of laid down, recorded and mixed in like 10 days, everything, maybe 11 days, could be less this. And finally on side 1 it finishes with Air, which is 5 minutes 39. I think what's interesting about this is, we talk about neoclassical fusion, and this truly has a kind of classical style. It almost sounds like an interpretation of a Bach piece for guitar or something, but he's written it. And it makes really good use of the major key and that it's in, and it uses a lot of counterpoint and contrapuntal lines. And again, it's clean as well. Once it gets going, it's quite bold that way, and it's quite explorative. So yeah, I think he plays the keyboards on this as well, probably. But yeah, it's a great track, and it's clever. It shows a kind of Brian May type of thought process on this, is how I would describe it. Side 2 opens with Temple of the Absurd. Marty Friedman co-writes this. I think he plays on this in tracks 6 and 7. So this has got the heavy sort of Cacophony sound. Middle section goes into 6/8 on this, very cool solo. And the same as with 11 Blue Egyptians, 5 minutes 44, again it's co-written by Marty. It's got a heavy vibe. I think they trade off on this, pretty amazing. I think it's got the blues solo in it. So it's kind of doing this kind of Phrygian dominant type thing that you would expect these guys to do. And then, like I say, it goes into a 12-bar blues section. Then you've got Dweller in the Cellar. This has got another odd time signature in it. It's 11/4 time, I think, or bar of 7, bar of 4. This is 6 minutes 15. Again, it's got the kind of cacophony sound. Obviously, Marty's involved in this playing wise, I think. And yeah, it's another spectacular track. There's just there's so much kind of variety and sort of imagination going on here. It's quite progressive, really. I mean, these tracks are longer. The album's 42 minutes long. I think in only Perpetual Burn's like the only kind of Satriani length track. But they're not boring, not overlong, these songs, because they kind of stretch out and he does things. It's almost like sometimes he's got ideas for 2 or 3 songs in one song. Yeah, and then you got Opus Pocus, 5 minutes 39. This is really cool again. He's got like a nice sort of majestic classical sound to this. He uses the back of the bar. Yeah, I'm just trying to think this track before he makes use of the whole tone scale as well. And I can't see where it is. It's Mabel's Fatal Fable, sorry. I just remembered that. Again, quite unusual. Typically a whole tone scale is used by the composers, impressionist composers like Debussy. These days you maybe hear like Uli John Roth uses it sometimes, and Michael Romeo. Yes, it's quite hard, I've listened to this album like about 10 times in the last few weeks, but it's kind of hard to kind of take it all in. I heard it at the time, and off and on at the time, but I never got a copy until later on. I think it was a bit neoclassical out at the time, and was kind of more into LA type of shredding, I guess. But it's a great record. He's rightly got the respect he has. Obviously, he's ALS, the disease he got. This was only instrumental album he made, but he still composes, obviously. Yeah, if you've never heard this album before, check out Perpetual Burn. It's basically a cornucopia of amazing guitar techniques from the time, and it showed the neoclassical fusion at its best, about how all the different elements of it could come together, I think, in one player and one album. Thanks for checking it out. Cheers. Perpetual Burn, 35 years old today. Thanks very much.